Okay, so are you ready to really get into this whole inclusive beauty thing?
I am. I'm fascinated by how much things are changing.
Me too. You know, you sent over like a zillion articles about it,
Yeah.
especially about skincare.
Yeah, I've been reading so much about how the industry is finally moving away from that like one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah, because that never really worked for anybody, did it?
Definitely not. You know what's really cool though is this shift is happening because people are finally realizing like, wait a minute, my skin, it's like totally unique.
Right. It's like we all finally woke up and we're like, why were we buying the same products for like every single skin type?
For real. Remember when we used to buy a product that promised to do like a million things?
Oh, yeah. And then it did absolutely nothing for our skin.
Total bummer. But now it's like brands are finally catching on that inclusivity in skincare. It's about way more than just like representation.
Yeah. It's about like actually having products that work for your specific needs, whatever they are.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really stood out to me in those articles you sent over is how different skin tones can react so differently to the same products and ingredients.
Oh, yeah. One of the articles mentioned that, right? It said something about how darker skin tones are more susceptible to like hyperpigmentation.
Exactly. And that's because melanin, the pigment that gives our skin its color, plays a huge role.
So basically, more melanin means you're more prone to hyperpigmentation.
Right. So darker skin tones can be more susceptible to darkening of the skin caused by things like sun exposure or even like inflammation.
And the good news is that a lot of these inclusive brands are now formulating products with all of that in mind.
It's a huge step forward.
It is. I mean, I remember when it was like impossible to find an SPF that didn't leave a white cast on darker skin tones. But now we have tinted sunscreens, BB creams, color-correcting skincare, all in like a zillion shades.
I know. It's so much better. Speaking of shades, did you see that article about coffee-based skincare?
Hold on. Coffee for my face.
I know, right? It sounds crazy.
But I'm kind of intrigued.
Well, it turns out that coffee, it's actually packed with antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. And it's a natural exfoliant, too.
Okay. I'm officially interested.
And you know what's cool? The benefits of coffee, they're not limited to just one skin tone.
So it's good for everyone.
Yep. Regardless of your skin tone, you can benefit from those antioxidants, the anti-inflammatory properties, and the exfoliating powers of coffee.
That's pretty cool. And by the way, that article, was it from a specific brand?
Yeah, actually, it was from a coffee-based skincare brand called Koto FI.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're all about that coffee life.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about how the industry is becoming more inclusive, but what about Gen Z? I keep seeing their name pop up in these articles.
Right. Gen Z, they're a huge driving force behind this whole shift.
Are they?
Yeah. They're not just passively accepting what brands are putting out there. They're demanding authenticity.
And transparency, I bet.
Big time. They're like, hey, if you don't understand my needs, I'm taking my business elsewhere.
I love that.
Yeah. And they're not afraid to call out brands that fall short.
Which makes sense. They grew up with social media, so they know how to use their voices to hold brands accountable.
Exactly. It's powerful stuff. And I think that's a big part of why we're seeing more diversity in beauty campaigns now. It's not just like the same cookie cutter models anymore.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see models of all ages, genders, skin tones, and abilities, like you name it. From freckles to vitiligo, it's all out there now.
Finally. And you know what else is interesting?
What's that?
Inclusivity. It goes way beyond just like representation in the media.
Yeah, it's got to be about the actual ingredients too.
100%. And one of the things that stood out to me in your research was how many brands are now focusing on ingredients that benefit a wide range of skin types.
Like what kind of ingredients?
Well, you know, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, vitamin C.
Oh yeah, those are good for everyone.
Pretty much, no matter your skin tone or what your concerns are. And it seems like, you know, Co-FEI, with their focus on natural ingredients, they're trying to get in on this trend too.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're really pushing the whole inclusivity angle.
They are, both in terms of representation and their products.
Cool. Okay, so we've talked about how the industry is becoming more inclusive and how Gen Z is pushing that change forward. But what about sustainability?
That is a great question. And, you know, sustainability and inclusivity, they're actually way more connected than you might think, especially when you consider how eco-conscious Gen Z is these days. You know, it's interesting because environmental issues, they often have like a disproportionate impact on marginalized communities.
Oh, that's a really good point.
So when we're talking about creating a truly inclusive beauty industry, We can't ignore the environmental consequences.
Yeah, it's not just about representation on the surface.
Exactly. It's about recognizing how everything's connected.
Right. Like social and environmental issues, they're all intertwined.
They are.
Yeah.
And, that's where we see brands like Ko-Fi trying to position themselves as leaders.
Because of their focus on natural ingredients and sustainable practices.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah.
Ko-Fi seems to be like checking all the boxes when it comes to both inclusivity and sustainability.
I mean, they're definitely tapping into a growing demand for products that align with those values, but it's not just about Ko-Fi.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There are a lot of brands out there doing cool things.
Totally. There are tons of exciting innovations happening across the entire industry.
Speaking of innovation, what was that thing you mentioned earlier?
Oh, you mean adaptive packaging?
Yeah. What is that exactly?
Okay, so basically adaptive packaging, it's all about making beauty products more accessible for people with disabilities.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So think about things like bottles with easy grip lids, or pumps that are easier to press, or even Braille labels.
Wow, that makes so much sense. Everyone deserves to feel confident and empowered when it comes to their beauty routine.
Right. It shouldn't be a struggle to open a bottle or read a label.
Oh, way.
Accessibility, it's a crucial aspect of inclusivity.
For sure.
And I think, as technology keeps advancing, we're going to see even more innovative solutions that cater to an even wider range of needs.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
One of the articles you sent me, it talked about the future of personalized skincare with AI.
Oh, yeah.
Like, imagine an app that analyzes your skin and tells you exactly what you need.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But think about it.
Okay, I am thinking about it.
No more guessing games at the drugstore.
No more buying 10 different products, hoping one of them works.
Exactly.
That would be a game changer, especially for people with, specific skin conditions or concerns that maybe haven't always been well served by more traditional products.
That's a really good point.
But, even with all these amazing advancements, we have to be mindful of the potential downsides.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, for one thing, this kind of technology, it could actually end up creating new forms of exclusion.
Oh, how so?
Well, what if personalized skincare, it becomes so expensive that only a select few can afford it?
Oh, yeah. That wouldn't be good.
Inclusivity, it shouldn't be a luxury.
Definitely not.
And then there's the whole question of data privacy.
Oh, right. If we're relying on an app to tell us what to put on our skin, we need to make sure our information is being protected.
Exactly.
Okay, so there are definitely some ethical considerations to think about.
Lots of them.
But hey, you know what? Let's shift gears for a second.
Okay, where are we going?
Well, we've been talking a lot about consumers and how they're driving change. But what about the people behind the brands?
Oh, you mean representation within the beauty industry itself?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Like, are there more diverse voices in the research labs or the boardrooms?
That's a critical aspect of inclusivity. We need people from all different backgrounds at every single level of the industry to make sure that the products and the marketing campaigns are truly representative of the world we live in.
Yeah, because consumers, they're not falling for it anymore.
Oh, for sure. People are way more aware these days.
They want to support brands that share their values, and that includes inclusivity.
Absolutely. And they're doing their research. They're not just looking at the product itself. They want to know who's behind the brand, what they stand for.
And it seems like the industry is starting to listen. I'm seeing more and more brands featuring diverse founders and CEOs.
Which is so inspiring.
It is. But like we were saying before, inclusivity, it's a journey, not a destination.
It's a process.
One that requires constant reflection, adaptation, a willingness to learn and evolve.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so where do we go from here? How do we navigate this crazy world of inclusive beauty?
That's the million-dollar question. And you know what? That leads us perfectly into the final part of our deep dive.
Oh, perfect. Where we'll explore some tips and tricks for making informed choices and figuring out which brands are actually walking the walk.
So how do we as consumers actually spot the brands that are genuine about this whole inclusivity thing? It feels like every brand is like, oh, we're inclusive now.
Yeah, it's tricky because there's a lot of greenwashing and woke-washing going on.
Right. It's like they know it's important to us, so they just slap the word inclusive on everything.
Exactly. So you have to look beyond the marketing and the buzzwords. Pay attention to the actual language they use.
Okay.
Like if a brand is saying they're all about inclusivity, but then their products and their marketing only show a very narrow range of skin tones or body types, that's a huge red flag.
It's like, okay, but where's the inclusivity then?
Right. Actions speak louder than words.
So true. What else should we be looking for?
Transparency is really important.
Okay.
Like, do they actually share information about where their ingredients come from, how they make their products, what their diversity stats are, like internally?
Yeah, that makes sense. Because brands that are really committed to these values, they're usually pretty proud to show off what they're doing.
Yeah, they want you to know.
Totally. And they're not afraid to be upfront about the work they're doing, even if it's not perfect yet.
Are there any, like, resources or certifications that we can look for?
You know what there are? There are actually a lot of third-party certifications and organizations that will vet brands based on their social and environmental impact.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you can look for labels like Fairtrade B Corp or Leaping Bunny.
Okay, I've seen those before.
Yeah, they indicate that a brand has met certain standards. And then there are also certifications specifically for vegan or cruelty-free products.
Perfect. That's super helpful. I feel like I can actually do something now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
What about online resources? Like, are there any websites or social media accounts that we should be following?
Social media can be amazing for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, follow brands that you're interested in, read reviews, see what other people are saying about their practices.
Oh, and look for brands that are actually engaging in conversations and responding to feedback.
Even if it's negative.
Yeah, even the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Because that shows they care.
Exactly. Okay, so let's say I've done your research and you found a brand that seems to be doing things right.
How can we support them?
Well, buying their products is definitely one way.
Of course. Vote with your dollars.
But it goes beyond that too.
Hmm.
Like, engage with them on social media, share their content, tell your friends about them.
Amplify their message.
Exactly. And you know what? If you see something that seems off or doesn't align with their values, don't be afraid to speak up.
Yeah, call them out.
Constructive criticism, it can actually help brands grow and improve.
That's a good point.
Because remember, inclusivity and sustainability, they're journeys, not destinations.
So true.
Even brands with the best intentions, they can still make mistakes.
Yeah, totally.
And sometimes holding them accountable is the best way to encourage them to do better.
Well, this has been such an awesome deep dive. We've learned so much about how skin reacts to different ingredients, the future of skincare, with AI, ethical sourcing, and manufacturing.
I know. It's amazing how much the beauty industry is changing.
And it's so cool to see how inclusivity and sustainability are like the driving forces behind it all.
I know, right? It's like a total revolution.
And the best part is, it all starts with us, the consumers.
We have the power to change things.
By making informed choices and demanding better from brands, we can help create a more beautiful and equitable world for everyone.
I love that.
So as you continue to explore the world of inclusive beauty, remember to stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay true to yourself and your values.
That is the best advice.
This was awesome. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of inclusive beauty.
It was my pleasure.
We'll catch you next time for another insightful exploration.